Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another Star Wars Battlefront 2 video, and today we have a lot to cover as the patch notes for the Droideka update that is dropping tomorrow were just released, and in these patch notes are a ton of hero changes. As always, if you do enjoy the video, I'd definitely appreciate it if you could drop a like, as those really help the channel out and push these videos into the algorithm. I have never set a like goal before, but let's see if we can get to 4,000 likes on this upload. It might be a high bar to set, but I think we can do it. Anyways, like I said, there is a lot to get to, so let's just jump right into the news. First things first, before we get into the hero changes, and this is only for people who haven't been paying attention for the past month, the patch notes detail all of the new content that is dropping tomorrow, which of course includes Naboo for capital supremacy, the highly requested Droideka, which will be part of the Enforcer class, the all-new TX-130 tank, the General Skywalker appearance, and of course the 2 new Clone Trooper appearances. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what has me excited, the dozens of hero changes that DICE is dropping tomorrow, and I did not expect this, because there are some that are going to completely change the dynamic of certain heroes. There are 2 that we already knew about in advance, the first being that as of the next update, all blaster heroes will be able to crouch, and I am interested in seeing how Bossk and Boba look when crouched, especially Bossk. And second, lightsabers are getting fixed, or improved tomorrow, as they will be brighter, and have pointed edges to better represent their looks in the film. But let's move on to the new and exciting stuff, and start out by talking about the hero health on kill star cards, because they are getting some massive changes this week. They aren't being removed and made passive yet, but they are being drastically changed in multiple ways. First, all of the health values are being evened out between the different heroes. For whatever reason, heroes like Rey would only get 60 health back for killing a hero, whereas heroes like Dooku and Anakin would get more than 100, so now all of them have been brought to exactly 100, which will serve as a pretty decent buff to Rey, and a small nerf to Dooku and Anakin, and many of the other heroes that had standard health on kill cards will be unaffected. Where this really changes things is with Palpatine, Iden Versio, Phasma, and Chewbacca, who are all having their health on ability cards replaced with a standard health on kill card. For Phasma and Chewbacca, this is a huge buff. Chewbacca was forced to get kills with his ground slam, which can be an okay ability in certain situations, but in Galactic Assault, more often than not, it's just going to result in you losing more health than you earn back, or maybe just getting completely killed because that ability can be pretty glitchy. For Phasma, I mean, do I really even need to explain that one? Her staff strikes have always been pretty bad, and I'm really glad they're giving her a regular health on kill. Palpatine and Iden are a little different, because both Iden and Palpatine were definitely better off with the health on ability. Palpatine and Iden would both get 30 HP for each trooper they shocked, and both Chain Lightning and Iden's Stun Droid would usually shock 2 to 3 people, resulting in close to 100 health back each time. Now they're only going to get 20 health back for each actual kill, so it's going to make it a little harder to regenerate health back for both of those heroes. Against other heroes, it's a little bit worse for both of them, as Iden would get 70 back for each hero she shocked, whereas Palpatine would only get 35, so while they will get a solid 100 health back for hero kills in HVV, it's much easier to pull off shocks mid-battle to regenerate some health, so it's a bit of an odd change. Overall, it's not a big deal for either hero, especially Iden, who can just sit back and spam secondary fire in Galactic Assault if she does need some health back, but it's definitely going to have an effect on how aggressive you can be with both of those heroes. Also, if you were wondering and noticed that they weren't included, Finn and Yoda star cards are staying the same. Finn's will still be tied to only his undercover team, and Yoda's to his unleash. For Yoda, I do agree that giving him a regular health on kill star card would be a bad idea, as he is already so powerful and has so much health, but for Finn, I just don't know, because Finn is already one of the lower tiered heroes. Tying his health on kill to undercover team makes that card a complete joke in HVV. I think he should at least be able to get health back with his regular blaster. Maybe not Deadeye, because I can see how that could be irritating in Galactic Assault, but there is no reason whatsoever that he shouldn't be able to regenerate health with regular blaster kills and melee kills when someone like Han, who has a way better blaster, can get health back from everything in his kit. Moving on, let's talk about that Luke buff that we just heard about for the first time a few days ago. And wow, I did not expect them to be changing this much. First up, his repulse is getting a very nice upgrade, as the recharge time for the ability has been reduced by 3 seconds, so you'll be able to use it way more often, and the base radius has been increased from 10 to 12 meters, so you'll be taking out people further away. Personally, those are not the 2 things I would have changed about repulse, but I am fine with a buff for that ability regardless. I just really think they should give Luke damage reduction during the animation and slightly tweak the damage so he can one-shot every trooper that isn't heavy, and do more than lightly tickle other heroes. If they just did that, Luke would be perfect, but I'm still happy with those changes. I just think Repulse, it needs a bit of work to be on par with other hero abilities, because it has such a long animation and pretty low damage for how long you have to be vulnerable. Luckily, there is more to Luke's buff than just that, as Luke's borderline useless stamina card is getting a massive buff, and instead of giving Luke just 10% more stamina, it will now give him 35% extra. I will say I'm still not sure if this card will be necessary, just because Luke has near instant stamina regeneration, and if you know how to play Luke, you'll really never run out. But either way, I'll definitely be playing around with this card to just see how it feels, because Luke is one of those heroes that has so many average star cards, and so few crucial ones to his setup, that you can really just mess around without putting yourself at a disadvantage. The patch notes also say they have adjusted Luke's attack animation speed. It doesn't specify if they've sped it up or slowed it down, but I can only imagine this means they've made them faster, as it would make no sense for them to slow Luke down. It seems like an important thing for DICE to forget to include, but whatever, I guess. They did the same exact thing with Yoda later in the patch notes. They said they adjusted his attack animations, but they didn't say if they sped them up or slowed them down, which, I don't know, that's a pretty crucial detail. Finally, they have also fixed the Luke glitch where he can kill you after he dies. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have been fighting a Luke, successfully kill him, and then I get damaged by a Force Ghost out of nowhere. It is so annoying, and I'm glad that it's finally gone, hopefully for good. Next up, my boy Finn is finally getting some long overdue love, and this may not seem like a big deal, wink wink, to those of you who don't use Finn very often, but they are finally removing Finn's movement penalty while his big deal ability is active. And thank God for this. I don't know why they thought it was necessary in the first place, but maybe Finn will finally not be a complete waste of space when he's by himself in Heroes vs. Villains. I mean, yeah, he is great for supporting his team, but if he is on his own, you are better off not activating Big Deal at all, because you can't move, and lightsaber heroes pretty much have a free kill at that point. Thank you, DICE, for finally removing this BS. I don't know why on earth it took you so long to do it in the first place, because people have been asking for this to be gone since day one, but regardless, I'm glad the dark times are finally over. Moving on, and yes, there is more. This update is super intensive on the hero changes. General Grievous is getting a long-awaited fix, although not to his biggest issue, which is still his thrust surge. But he is getting some improvements to his blocking reliability during Unrelenting Advance, which is also a pretty big problem. Honestly, the only real disappointment from this update is that they are still leaving Grievous in his current state, which is pretty sad to see. His thrust surge is completely broken, it maybe works like half the time when Grievous doesn't spin like a helicopter, his claw rush has so many bugs, like randomly coming out of the animation after bumping into a pebble, or not allowing you to cancel the ability as you careen off a cliff, or just instantly lodging Grievous into the ground. Grievous is just a mess, although what's kind of funny is despite being a broken mess, Grievous is still pretty good even if he's only working at half capacity. I really wish they would show him some love though, as his current state is kind of embarrassing for a AAA game. Anakin is getting a very small buff to his pull dominance, as the animation will now be a bit shorter, which I think is unnecessary but totally fine by me. Kylo Ren's pull is getting a nerf, as it can no longer damage through blocks, and honestly, I thought that was intentional, as a lot of force abilities have been able to damage through blocks for a long time, but I guess not. The more this game goes on, the more DICE just promotes the playstyle of infinitely blocking and never doing anything else. Well, that is all of the important hero changes from today's update. I think the biggest takeaways from this are Luke, Chewbacca, and Phasma getting huge buffs, Luke in the form of upgrades to his stamina and abilities, and Chewie and Phasma's in the form of a regular health on kill. Kylo is also getting a decent nerf, as with Harsh Pull, dealing damage through blocks was really useful for delaying health regen or just finishing off a weak enemy, so that is a bit of a bummer as Kylo has been my main lately. Well guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like, as that really helps out the channel, and I have a very important announcement for those of you who stuck around to the very end. Over on my Twitter, I am giving away a Kylo Ren Force FX lightsaber. I ordered it last week and it just arrived over this weekend. Just follow the link in the description to my Battlefront Night Twitter, and make sure you are following me, and you could win this $250 Black Series Force FX lightsaber, and it is really cool. I kind of want to keep it for myself, but I just don't need the clutter. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.